Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Hey, how are you doing today, tonight, whenever you are watching? Thank you for being here. My name is KB.MichelleGreen. I am yours truly, coming to you live today from Kingdom Builders Business University. That's right. We are a business school that helps you, the elite entrepreneur, get prepared for excellence as a entrepreneur, as a business owner. That's right. Are you a business owner? Are you a solopreneur? What is it that you are doing in life today? Listen, we are here to help you to get your answers to your questions. We are here to help you to help you to understand the talk around business. That's what we do. We talk about all things business. And if you are watching us for the first time, let me just stop and say thank you. A shout out to all of those who have been a KBBU student, that have been a part of the Kingdom Builders Business University community. Thank you guys for being a part of our family. Thank you for being able to watch us today. We hope that you are prepared to take some notes and to get into the real deal about being a business owner. Now, before we get started, we want you to know that every single Wednesday at 12 to 12:30, we're coming on live to talk to you about business things. We're talking about the business stuff. We're talking about the business secrets and the strategies that you need as a elite entrepreneur to be able to excel in your business. So we don't want you to miss out. So how do you need to stay connected? You just need to hit that subscribe button. That's all you need to do. And you need to set the notification so that whenever we go live, that you're not missing out on another show or episode of the Kingdom Builders Business University podcast and TV show right here on YouTube and wherever else you can find us. Listen, we are all over social media. So listen, if you are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, if you are on TikTok, wherever you are, then we are there. So listen, make sure that you get connected with us so that you can take care of your business the proper way. Because what do we do here at KBBU? We do things the right way. Y'all see that right down below, right? Okay. Hey, yes, we do things the right way in business. We do things legally. We do things by the book, but we also have a lot of fun with our businesses. So that is why we come to you live every single week. So today we want to just make sure that you guys understand that as a business owner, I have been actually doing business for over 30 plus years. That's right. I got a little age on me. I started at the age of 19 and I am still a business owner, but I am a multi-business owner. That means that I have several businesses that are successfully running simultaneously at the same time in different fields. So what I do is I actually started out in financial advising and teaching people about finances and strategies and different things about their money. And then I went into business credit. I'm sorry, into credit and personal credit, not business credit initially, but I learned about business credit by being a business owner. Then I went into having a nonprofit organization. And then I went into actually the business university, which is why we are here today. And we have a new business that's coming down the line soon that we'll be releasing to you guys to let you know what else we are doing in 2026. All right. So listen, we want to help you to understand that there are secrets and strategies from the years that I have been in business. And that's why we go live every single week to talk to you about these business secrets and strategies. We want you to get the best out of your business because we know that as a business owner, there's not a lot of people who are hanging around trying to tell you exactly how to do business the right way, not how to do business. They're not trying to talk to you about doing business at all. They are just trying to either compete with you or they are trying to, basically just have their own business going on and not really sharing with you the challenges or the things that they encounter so that it can help propel you forward in your business. But we here at KBBU, that's what we do. And today we are going to get started by talking about the basics of business. We are going to talk about some things, and you guys are welcome to ask questions, to make a comment. If you have been a part of KBBU before, listen, we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear from you to see what it is that you have learned at KBBU, and to also see what questions you might have, even if you have been a part of KBBU or if you never ever heard of KBBU before. So let's talk about these business basics. First of all, when we think about a person that has decided that they want to go in business, why do you want to go in business for yourself? First is the question of, why do you want to be a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner because somebody you know is a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner because you just are tired of working a job? Do you want to be a business owner because maybe you had a business venture or an idea a long time ago that just never manifested? These are all questions that you need to answer before you get started in the business basics. Listen, business basics is understanding your why. That is the foundation of all businesses. And if we tend to forget what the why is along the journey of being a business owner, then we need to go back to the drawing table and think about, why did we start being a business owner in the first place? So the very first thing that we need to have as our foundation as a business owner is to understand our why. Why are you wanting to be a business owner? Why do you want to go in business for yourself? Why are you in business currently? And what are the benefits for the people that you provide those services and products to? All right, so that's number one. Number two is, what is your product or service actually doing for people? When we think about being a business owner, we got to think about, is the product or service that we offer, is it something that people need, or is it something that people want? And regardless of whether it's something that people need or something that people want, regardless of that fact, we still have to understand that we have to make that offer so delicious that they cannot resist what it is that we are bringing to the table. So when we talk about being a business owner, what does your product or service represent? What does your product or service mean to the people who are going to be buying the product or service? So let's think about that. We want to always position ourselves in business basics for a product or service, whether it is needed or whether it is wanted, that is going to be something that people will really want to buy, that they will really want to engage in, that they will really want to, they would really want to use. Okay. So we don't want to just have a product that's just some idea, and especially not something that we might have seen on social media, TV, or whatever, heard on the radio. We want to have something that is really a passion of ours, of what it is that we are going to give to the people. We always want to think about, what is it that people need, and what is it that people want? When I think about talking to grantors and lenders, creditors, and anybody that supplies a business, what I learn is that every one of those people who have the big bucks, the money that we are waiting for, the money that we are trying to bring into our business, guess what they are looking at? They're looking at how passionate you are about your product or service. How can you clearly explain what it is that you need or what you want? What it is that the people need or what they want? How is it that you can clearly communicate to your customer exactly what it is that you want to offer in your product or service? And do you have passion in it? See, when we look at those lenders and grantors and the people that are supplying our business with money in addition to our clientele, they are always going to check to see, are you serious about the product or service that you are offering in a way that you can explain why they need it? So there has to be some type of passion. There has to be some kind of desire that you want to make sure that people are receiving in your product or service. So that's business basics. What is your why? And what is your product or service? Why are you doing what you're doing? And do you have passion behind that? Those are some of the basic foundations. Now, as we get into the actual business, what we want to understand is that we have to have some really basic things in place. Number one, how do people communicate with your company? When they go to social media, do they see your representation? Do they see your business? Do they see your brand name? Do you have a brand name? Are you a business that is represented by just your individual self? Or are you a business that is a separate entity, such as an LLC or a corporation? And do you have that set up legitimately with the Secretary of State? Do you have your business represented in social media? Do you have it represented in magazines, in books? Do you have it represented in any place where people are? So when I think about being a business owner, I think about who knows who I am and where am I showing myself as a business owner? Where am I showing up at? Am I showing up on social media? Am I on certain platforms? Am I getting myself out there so that people would know what it is that I'm offering? So that is a business basic. You don't just want to have your why down pat. You don't just want to have your products and services as something that people actually need or want. But you got to have that passion, and you also have to have the understanding that, guess what? People gotta see your product or service. You cannot be hidden as a entrepreneur. You cannot decide that I just want to be in business and I'm never going to show my face. I don't really want to be in front of a camera. I don't really want to talk to people. And maybe you're not even a people's person. But I challenge you that being a business owner, you change your mindset, because one of the basics of being a business owner is that you're gonna have to deal with people. And if you don't have people, then you don't have a business. Okay. So you can't make any money. You can't actually receive any money if you don't have clientele. So basics of business, being a business owner, one of the basic foundations is understanding that you have to put yourself out in front of people that have never seen you before, have never known anything about you, and how you communicate that information to the people that are looking for your product or service is going to be very strategically planned out if you are a part of KBBU. See, at KBBU, we make sure that you understand who your audience is and who it is that you need to be representing your products and services to. We help you to understand that where you need to put your business so that everybody in your niche will be able to see who you are. That's what we do. We help you to get out there in front of that camera, to talk to the people and become the people's person that maybe you never thought that you could be. So we want to make sure that you understand business basics involves clientele. Now, maybe like I said before, you're not a people's person, but maybe you are somebody who loves the operation of business. As a business owner, one of the things that we have found out, especially if you're just now starting in business, is that you got to have some kind of formula of organization. That's right. To be a business owner, which it means to literally organize stuff, then you have to have some type of flow or some type of system that you are working from the beginning, in the middle, and to the end of your project or your service. Your product or your service has to be processed. And if you don't have a process as a business owner, then guess what? Business is going to flop. Business is going to flop. So what do we want to do? We want you to understand that as a business owner, you're going to need a system. Business basics requires that you not only understand your why and you have passion behind what your product or service is. Not only do you need to make sure that you are getting comfortable with being seen and heard, and that you are able to share that product or service with your particular group of people who you offer your service and products to, but you also have to understand how to operate a business. So some of us that have gone in business have went from being a employee over to being a business owner, but we have a lot of employee skill sets that we are trying to implement in our business without doing the first basic foundation, without knowing what our why is, without really focusing on that product or service with passion, without understanding that we are going to have to be a people's person, and without us really getting to the point where we learn how to operate the system or flow of protocol for our organization. See, when we don't have a operations, that's what it's called. When we don't have an operational system for our company, then guess what? Our businesses are going to go downhill very quickly. See, we need to know what is the first step of your company to sell your product or service. What is the first phase? After you have put yourself out there, after you have talked to hundreds of people, after you have presented your business to particular family, friends, and people that you know and love, and even maybe some enemies. Okay. When you have presented your business and you have done all of the things and you know your why, what you got to do is understand that your business has to consistently operate in the same manner every single day. See, a lot of us tend to have businesses that we don't really understand what we're doing. So we just kind of do something every day that we think is going to be progressive towards our business. But I want you to stop before you get into too deep into being a business owner, before you get too deep into thinking that something is going to just explode in your life and you're going to make all this money and all these lenders and creditors are going to be willing to just jump in and pour all this money into your business, into your pocket. Listen, what we got to understand is this. We are the business owner, and as the business owner, we should know our flow. So what is the first step of your client actually being in your company, obtaining your product or service? What is the first phase of it? How do they need to be contacted? What form of communication are you using to communicate back to your customer? Is it text message? Is it a phone call? Is it a fax? Is it an email? And is that actually working for you? Because if it's not working, then you need to change the operations. Then next, we look at after you have communicated with your client and they are receiving your product or service. What in the middle part of the operation is it that your client needs to be updated on? So, what are the operations internally and externally as a business owner that you need to keep up with for your own sake and for your client's sake? Okay, what are the steps that they need to take, and what are the steps that you and your employees, your independent contractors, or whoever is working within your organization, what are their steps to take in order to operate the business successfully? This is something that a lot of us tend to drop the ball on. We tend to drop the ball because we don't really know ourselves. What is it that we're really supposed to be doing day to day? Well, if you're trying to figure that out and you absolutely don't know, it doesn't matter what type of business you're in. What matters is that you begin to see and think about what is actually working when you do it from beginning to end in a particular order. And if you need to change the order, it's absolutely okay for you to do that because that's what business owners do. We change our operations all the time. We do what works in the moment for a season, for maybe a couple of years. And then down the road, because life changes, because there's always something that changes in life, okay? life is going to be forever changing here as long as we're on this earth. So, what we got to understand is that we have to also adapt to the changes that are coming through our operations. So, even if it's a slight change or a big change, we got to make sure that change is happening throughout our operations, but we still have to make sure that we're following a a basic foundation of how we are operating the company. So, what am I talking about? You're always going to have communications, right? You're always going to have to offer that product or service. And once that product or service is sold, if there is a step or two or three after the product is sold, then what are those steps? In what order do you as a entrepreneur need to take, and does your client need to take after they have bought your product or service? And then what a lot of us don't think about in operations is that after we have gotten to the point that we are kind of in a flow, we don't really think a lot about how we can have a client come back to us over and over again. How can we keep referrals from the people that we've already sold our products and services to? Because, see, this is a basics of business. A basis of business is making sure that your operations is good, and to make sure that you have a system in place where after you have been seen and heard and people have bought into your product and service, how are they going to refer a new customer to you? How can you get new people from the people that you already have sold to? And how can you get the people who you sold to be a repeat client? See, it is going to be based on if your product is a need or if it's a want, but it's really going to be left up to you, honestly, because I know millions of business owners who are offering services that are not a need to this very day. I know there are several things that I can go and obtain right now in this very moment that I don't actually need. So to say that if a business owner is having a product or service that is not a need, it doesn't mean that it cannot be sold, and it doesn't mean that you can't gain referrals and repeat customers from that. And listen, I know that y'all thought that that was the end of the equation of the whole pie, but it's actually not. When we think about the operations, that is a great thing to have as a basic foundation. But the last thing that I want to leave with you today about having a business and having the basics of your business be established is to protect what you have. See, a lot of us think about our businesses and we're so caught up into the operations, maybe we're caught up into getting ourselves out there on camera. Maybe we are caught up into looking at being a people's person and really getting ourselves out in front of the cameras and in front of people that we don't know and that have never heard of us before. And we're just kind of strict and tight and uptight about that. But we just need to be ourselves. And then we think about our whys, we think about what it is that we are really passionate about. And if that product or service is something that can be sold to the particular people that are in our particular field. But what we don't think about as a business basic is to protect the whole equation of being a business owner. We do not protect ourselves, we are not covered with protection. So, one of the phases of being a business owner is to make sure that if you're protecting your company, do you have contracts in place? And if you do have contracts in place, are your contracts up to date? Are you a person that is doing business and you have absolutely no protection that if someone says that you did something wrong and it happens to escalate and even go to court, are you covered? Are you protected? I see all too many times there are so many businesses out there that have assumed that because their product or service is so good that they don't really need to protect themselves. The beginning foundation basics of being a business owner is that you got to be protected. You got to be protected on the front end and you got to be protected in the middle. You also got to be protected on the back end. That's why your processes are so important. Your operations are so important because what are the operations after your client is obtain. After you receive a customer, after that customer buys your product or service, how will they understand what is covered and what is protected on your end and their end? So we need to make sure that we have contracts in place as a basic foundation of being a business owner. Not only do we need contracts, we also need insurance. We need insurance to cover that in the case that something does happen, are we protected with enough money to be able to make sure that our company is going to be okay? That we don't have to go into bankruptcy, that we don't have to just throw the whole business away, okay? Because we are covered. So we got to have contracts, we got to have insurance, and we also have to have the proper licensing that is necessary for us to really be protected. So don't just put yourself out there as a business owner and not think about the basics of being a business. Listen, we all have to go through different challenges, different ups and downs. We all have to go through different requirements, even and compliance to the particular industries that we are in. But don't be foolish. Don't just assume that you're okay. Go and do the research. There is so much available information out here today. So, for us to say that we do not cover our basics, that would be really foolish of us to not do so. It would not be a smart idea. It would be something that we are just carelessly hoping, wishing, and praying that could still happen if we are not doing the right thing. So let's stay in compliance. Let's protect ourselves. Let's have the proper security to secure these businesses that we work so hard to establish and to allow to be successful and to put ourselves out there in front of the world. Let's protect what we have done to be an entrepreneur. And even if you want to take it a step further, make sure that you have your copyrights and your trademarks in place. Make sure that you have all of the components of securing your organization. That's right, because it's important that we understand that people aren't always good. People aren't always going to do the right thing. But here at KBBU, if you need assistance with setting up contracts, if you need assistance with trademarks and copyrights, if you need assistance with any of the things that we talked about today, then guess what you can do? You can go on over to www.kbbullc.com, and at the bottom of the screen, there is a button that's going to pop up that says Let's Talk. I want you to click that button that says Let's Talk so that you can get into the next associate certification class that we are offering. But it's not just a class, it is a one-on-one session that we have with you called a strategy session. And in that strategy session, like I was told yesterday, there is no strategy session out there that is like the ones that we talk to you about. So ours is so unique, it's so different because what are we doing? We're catering to your needs spiritually, mentally, and physically that will accommodate your business to be to six figures, seven figures, and higher because we do business the right way. Listen, we've had a little experience around the block a few times in a few different situations, and there wasn't anybody that was there to tell us that we were making mistakes or that we were doing it right. And that's why it's so crucial to be with someone that knows the way, that knows that's been around the block a couple of times, that's been through some things, that has learned by trial and error, but also learned through by success. We need to get with people who know what they're doing, not just say that they know what they're doing and give you a bunch of hype and motivation, but then when it's time for you to put everything in place, they can't be found. So listen, if you are really serious about taking your business to the next level, come on over and get in our associate certification. Our bachelor certification for those who have exceeded the associate certification is available. And you can also start out at the bachelor's level. You don't have to go to the associate's level, but the first stage of KBBU is associates, then bachelor's, then VIP masters. And the VIP Masters is only available for those who have been through KBBU before. Listen, we just want to give a quick shout out and thank you for what you have done to sit here today and listen to the message that we have about basics in business. We want to thank you for watching us every single week. We want to thank you for connecting and collaborating, subscribing, and just being a part of the whole KBBU family. Because listen, guys, we pour out our life for real, to make sure that you are receiving the best information, the secrets, and the strategies behind being a business owner. So thank you for watching today. I hope that you have really enjoyed this message, and I hope that you will comment below so that we'll know exactly what you learned. And give us a call so that we can get into a real strategy session for your company. Listen, last but not least, let's remember that we are streamed through CTR Media Network, which is a platform that streams to 3.6 billion viewers every day in over 175 countries. Thank you, Dr. Tina and Curtis Ramsey. We want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be seen by billions of people every single day. All right, until next week, y'all take care. Let us know if there's a topic that you want to talk about. And until next time, we'll see you later, alligator and a wild crocodile. Bye bye.